Greetings to you, oh beautiful friends. It is I, D. Trussell, and thou hast tuned in to the Duncan Trussell Family Hour podcast, an enclave of auditory, orgasmic expulsions. I'm now officially a dad, and this is now officially a family hour. Not that it wasn't before, but it's a family hour on every level. I have spawned, I have reproduced, I have experienced the miracle of life. And it really is a miracle. It truly is. It's just what all the stuff you hear, that's it. It's truly one of the most spectacular experience of my life. A kind of simultaneous death of a certain part of myself, an instantaneous rebirth, a strange form of confirmation of some theories that I had mixed in with a ton, a billion tons, a megaton, something beyond tonnage, the source of all tons of pure ego demolishing. You didn't know shit, man. Of course, that's not how it talks. It doesn't talk like someone ear beating you about ancient aliens at some rotten kegger. It talks in the language of flowers and the wind and of forests and of waterfalls and of the thing behind forests and winds and waterfalls. It talks like whatever it is that gold is reflecting. It talks like the source of sources, and it has a wonderful thing that it says to you, except the language that it speaks in is the language that angels speak. And the simultaneously beautiful yet somewhat frustrating thing about this particular language is that the moment you remember how to speak it, you instantaneously forget it because it only happens in the moment. And so in that way, it is somehow incredibly beautiful and yet somehow completely normal and truly transformative in the ultimate way. And also, it's scary as hell. And it is also incredibly stressful. And man, we're exhausted right now. We're tired. This little boy, he's so wonderful, but you can't, there's not like the normal kind of sleep is not happening right now. One of my friends explained it to me, the way he described it to me, is like, well, you know, you've been to Burning Man, so you know what it's like to not sleep in the normal way. It's like that. Your sleep cycles, just whatever that was, or whatever the sort of rhythm of normal day-to-day life, that goes away. And you end up in this kind of very interesting primordial process that is just awe-inspiring and filled with so many incredible components and little. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, imagine like if the whole universe suddenly became like some kind of pouch filled with diamonds that had been harvested by a meteorite that was made of love. That helps you understand what it's like to see your son. And then your son looks like your mom who passed, and then you just have to start crying, because what else are you going to do? It's either cry or start speaking in tongues in the delivery room, which you definitely don't want to do. I mean, you could do it at the hospital we were at. I don't think they would have minded, but and probably they've seen it before, but you don't want to do that because you drowned out your baby who is speaking in tongues. He's speaking in the primary language, which is the sound children make the moment they enter into this dimension and start crying. And that is not the kind of cry that I thought it was before I'd experienced it. It is truly a beautiful cry, the sweetest sound you ever heard in your whole life. And I could probably I could go on and on like this for probably 2 days straight, just making strange psychedelic analogies to describe the experience, and it still wouldn't help if you haven't been there. And I'm not saying you should go there necessarily. This isn't like some kind of like, we're not talking about just like this isn't a amusement park ride. And my God, I certainly would never have been equipped for it. in different versions of me, but and I don't know if anyone could ever actually be equipped for it in any version of themselves, because I don't think anyone could do it on their own. It requires a community and help and surrender and God and gurus and whatever your particular source connection is. All that stuff, man. The rubber is really hitting the road here, sweeties. And so don't worry. I'm not going to go on and on about fatherhood at the beginning of every single one of these episodes. It's not going to literally turn into like the family discussion hour. It's not going to be the hymn of the obnoxious reproducer. I'm not going to blast you with the sonic equivalent of Instagram pictures of my darling baby. But I hope that you can not just hear the exhaustion in my voice, but also hear the awe, because that's what I'm feeling. A lot of awe and a lot of joy and a lot of fear and a lot of happiness and a lot of just everything. It's everything. It's everything. It's the atom splitting right in front of you. It's the, man, I could go on and on. I won't. I could just, maybe I'll just make an album of me describing birth, the birth experience, just me doing this. Yeah, that'd be a great one. Maybe put some drums under it. Let's see here. Get some drums going here and do let's see, maybe like a cheesy saxophone. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, that's it. Birth. It's like a giraffe blowing out a candle inside a black hole. Birth. It's like if you pulled a fish out of the mouth of Jesus on the cross, except it wasn't a cross. It was a fence in front of God's house. Birth. It's what would happen if a rainbow started crying, only it wasn't tears, it was rainbows. Birth. It's like a piñata filled with placenta that smells like something that came from a place that places come from. Birth. It happened to you. My loves, we have a glorious podcast for you today. Daniele Bolelli